Ladies and gentlemen, let's quickly look at duties of the speaker roles for team opposition. First, on the negative side, we have the first speaker opposing, all right, or first speaker opposition. Your first job is to introduce your speech. Your second job comes under definition and interpretation. Let me say this quickly. No team in a debate round has the monopoly of definition and interpretation. No team. So team affirmation can give their own definition, and as team position, I would reject such definition, modify such definition, or agree with such definition. Three things. You can either agree with the definition of affirmative, adjust or modify it, or entirely reject that definition and then present your own definition of the topic. Of course, adjudicators will always have the education panel always have tougher times adjudicating rounds where the teams run parallel. All right, so it's always important that there is an intersection point in a debate round, and it makes it easier to just argue, or to just score based on arguments and speaker points or stuff like that. But if the teams run parallel, which means opposition rejected the definition and interpretation of team affirmative, I've had debate rounds where such happened. All right. So you are allowed as team opposition to redefine the motion, or to define the motion as it suits you, and then give your arguments. I will come to definition and interpretation, and you understand better. So first, as first speaker negative or opposition, introduction of your speech. Secondly is definition and interpretation. And in that definition and interpretation, you either agree, adjust or modify, and lastly reject the definition and interpretation of team affirmative. Next, you move to rebuttal. You rebut the arguments of the first speaker affirmative. Then you introduce your speakers, all right, which is team split. Introduce your teamwork. This is what my second speaker is going to do. If you have a third speaker, this is what my third speaker is going to do in the course of this round. It's important to understand that the first speaker role is Herculean, and this is why it's critical to prepare extensively before debate rounds or before debate tournaments. This is what I suggest, and this is what I advise teams to do ahead of tournaments. Make sure that every student, every prospective debater is trained and coached across board. Every speaker should know how to be able to speak as first speaker, second speaker, or third speaker. And then next he or she proceeds into his own argument or her own argument, reasoning and presentation of evidence, and then he or she summarizes his own case and then concludes and leaves the stage. It's important that you understand as a debater that conclusions are as important as introductions. Don't begin your debate speech without introduction and without a conclusion. Even if you are out of time, stop the argument and conclude. This is my counsel on that.